Alright everybody, welcome to episode 222 of Psycho's Platters. Always sponsored by coffee each and every time. I know you can't see this really well, but today I've got my Doctor Who coffee mug. Yes, I'm a big Doctor Who fan actually. More the older episodes than the new stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the newer stuff. But I got to admit, I haven't watched anything past Matt Smith. So yeah, I haven't even looked at Peter. I know I'm going to butcher this name, Gallardi. I don't know what. I haven't watched any of those. I think Day of the Doctor was the last one I saw with the War Doctor, John Hurt, and all that. So my favorite Doctor's Tom Baker from the '70s, followed by probably Peter Davidson, and then John Pertwee. I liked all of them. So, anywho, today I decided I would go off and pull a bunch of 45's. That's what we're going to do today on this particular episode of Psycho's Platters. Hang on a second. I'm going to move these along a little bit. Alright, so, basically in gist of this is that all of these 45's were acquired within the last couple weeks from various thrift shops, antique malls, things like that. And of course I got research. Yes, research upon research. So, right off the bat, let's start off with on Bally. Betty Johnson. I'll wait. Back, but please tell me why. For March of '56. Like I said, wonderful little Bally label. I ended up finding the highlights previously on Bally, and I liked that stuff too, and that was mid-50s. This label was only around till like about, I think it was like 55 to 57, maybe early 58 at the most, and then it fell under. Yes, Bally is the same company as the Pinball Machine Company out of Chicago. That's right. So I'm going to tell you this little bit here. According to David McKee, a lot of different things today. Of course, Wikipedia, 45cat.com, and a bunch of other ones too. But this time here, David McKee from 45cat.com wrote, teenager that was signed by Columbia Records, made some recordings, non-successful. She recorded a kids album with Eddie Arnold in 53, 54. Went to Bell in 54, and 55 went to RCA Victor, who sent her to Chicago. Then she worked with Eddie Arnold again on the Eddie Arnold Time syndicated TV show, along with the Jordanaires. Also did Chicago TV show Don McNeil's Breakfast Club, which I remember seeing little bits of kinescopes on this. Very successful television show. It was a morning show in the 50s and early 60s that year. And then that's how she ended up getting signed to Bally. After this, she also ended up on The Tonight Show with Jack Parr in 57, and cut a single with Atlantic, and doesn't do anything until the early 90s, where she restarted her career back up, and she records sporadically. This one here made it to number 94 on the charts, and that was about it for Betty Johnson. Next, I actually found a 45 from this man before, and when I found this one, I'm like, oh wow, this is going to be really cool. From 1960 on United Artists label, Marv Johnson. Ain't Gonna Be That Way. Made it to 74 on the Hot 100. Number 50 in the UK though. This one here, the record's in decent shape, but the labels, the UA labels, always seem to fade real fast. I don't know why. Marv Johnson was the first artist on Tamla. That's right, back in January '59, would Come to Me. But actually was re-released on United Artists the following month. Berry Gordy Jr. of Motown arranged, produced, and co-wrote. Co-wrote these tunes. The flip side on here, actually he wrote both of these. All the Love I Got, which was the B-side of this 45, was the first co-write from Brian Holland, future Holland Dozier Holland songwriting team for Motown. You know what? Both sides of this are actually really cool. You ever find any of Marv Johnson's work, grab it. You will not be disappointed on that. For Marv Johnson from 60. Next, on Vic, Mickey and Sylvia, It's You I Love, from late 1958. This is the last 45 on Groove/Vic before switching to the parent label RCA for them. By the end of 59, they broke up, but recorded infrequently until 1965 when Mickey quit the U.S. music industry and moved to France. In the late 70s, Sylvia was involved in the creation of the Sugar Hill rap label. This is a non-charter. Neither one of these did chart at all. It's not a bad 45. It's just not really overwhelming. But needless to say, Mickey and Sylvia on Vic. This next one I actually was really happy to find, even though the vinyl probably needs to be cleaned up a little bit and might look a little better than this. But unfortunately, the B-side of the label on this one is not that great. So this will do till I can find another one. But Campbell and the Headhunters on Rampart. That's right. Land of a Thousand Dances. What I was going to lead up to, but I already cut in early. Next up, a 45 from an East LA band. One of the first Mexican-American groups to have a hit record. Opening act on the Beatles' second U.S. tour, backed by the King Curtis's band. And played at the August 65 Shea Stadium show. That's right. Was Campbell and the Headhunters. In 1964, these guys started out as Bobby and the Classics. Land of a Thousand Dances is really a cover song that originally was written and sung by Chris Kenner back in 1962. Fats Domino is credited on some versions of this tune, which, by the way, he is on this one as Antoine Domino. But so yeah, like I said, he's on some releases he's co-author, but in basic, he agreed to record the song if Kenner would agree to half the song's royalties. So Fats Domino had nothing to do with this tune whatsoever. The na 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 part in the song, when they're going na 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 na. Well, guess what? It was actually by accident due to lead singer Frankie Cannibal Garcia forgot the words to that part of the lyrics. Oops. Well, you know what? Maybe it was for the best because I like this version, but I like Wilson Pickett's version. Oh my God, that thing's awesome. Reached number 30 on the Billboard Hot 100. The B-side, I'll Show You How to Love Me. Nice slice of doo-wop. Honestly, if you like doo-wop, I think you'll get a kick out of that one too. Larry Tamblyn, future Standell, wrote the next single, Here Comes Love. All of the original members of this band have passed, but Robert Jaramillo. They all died between 96 and 2011, and I'm told that the band's still out there, but guess what? It's a tribute band. So no original members from this lineup in Campbell and the Headhunters. The next one here, Wax Museum with Ronnie Dark, played some of this material. I happen to also be Facebook friends with Sid Herring. The Gantz, Roadrunner on Liberty, that's right. From 1965, number 46 on the U.S. charts, number 28 in Australia. Started in late 63, the Gantz did, but Gant was a name of a popular shirt button-down collar for that as well. Bo Diddley did Roadrunner in 1960. They did 3 albums for Liberty, 65 through 66. Gantz did a version of Gloria before The Shadows of Night even did it. Hang on, sorry here. I actually like both sides of this 45. They broke up in 1967 but reunited in 05. Sid Herring, like I said, from the Gantz, still around. Go check out his website. Ronnie did actually a really cool interview with Sid, and that's how I ended up becoming Facebook friends with Sid. I sometimes communicate with him once in a while. Very nice guy. Okay, next one. I love my Chicago area groups, of course, because that's where I'm from originally. When I've come across 45s from this band, it's usually Bend Me, Shape Me. Not this time. It's the American Breed with Green Light. Yes. Number 39 in the U.S., 29 in Canada. American Breed, but started out as Gary and the Night Lights. That's K-N-I-G-H-T, Lights in Cicero, Illinois. In January '67, which back up in Chicago was the Blizzard of '67, hit Chicago and basically changed the luck of the band when senior VP of Mercury Records was stranded and met with producer Bill Trout, who he ended up doing a lot of work for Dunwich too, and RCA as well, if I remember correctly, at his studio. Trout played some of the tapes of Gary and the Nightlights. VP was impressed, signed them to the new Acta label, and which was actually a side label from Dot. And then of course, they name changed themselves to American Breed. Of course, Bend Me, Shape Me was the big hit, but they had a handful of other ones too. Kevin Murphy comes in 1968 on keyboards. The band breaks up in 1970. Gary Loazzo opens up Pumpkin Studios in Illinois, works with Styx as well as others. The rest of the band went to Rufus with Shaka Khan, yes. And they reunited in '86 for an LP. In 2005, they did the song "Rock with the Sox" when they were going for that World Series title. Gary died in January 2016 at age 70, but at least they all got back together to do that Cornerstones of Rock special on PBS. I'm glad they were able to do that. Also, I want to throw a little personal note about American Breed. Back in the 1980s, I was able to find Kevin Murphy, and he told me a little bit, over the phone when I originally was starting to try to write a book about Chicago rock and roll. He talked a little bit about Rufus. He also was involved in a band called the Amusement Park Band, otherwise known as APB, on Atlantic. I remember coming across some of this stuff recently, actually. But Kevin Murphy went off and mentioned that shortly after, like around 1969-70, like one of the last 45's they did landed him on Paramount, which was who ended up taking over for Acta per se. And they actually cut an album, American Breed did, and oh my God, what was it called? It was like a psychedelic rock album, Uncle Something. I can't remember it anymore right now, I'm sorry. Needless to say, though, he says the tapes are in the vault, and I really wish they'd come out and put that out, because I'd be kind of curious to see what that would have sounded like, late '69, early '70 American Breed. For that one. So like I said, Kevin Murphy mentioned that in an interview in the '80s. All right, next one up from 1973 on Enterprise Records, River City with Wind Me Up. Now, River City, they were based out of Fayetteville, Arkansas. That's right, about 30 minutes away from me. The band was based out of. Their first album came out in 1971 on Stax subsidiary Enterprise. It was the first all-white band signed to the Stax family, because, of course, you had Booker T and the MGs, which was half black, half white. But this was the first all-white band signed to Stax. Basically, with this band, you had a lot of fuzz guitar and horn rocks prevail, and some wah-wah too. Courtesy that information, Bad Cat Records had that one. Wind Me Up, though, was actually the last thing to be released from River City in 1973. The flip is a LP side for that as well. Two of the members still live in the Northwest Arkansas area. I really would love to get a hold of one of those two, at least if both, and talk to them. That'd be kind of nice for a future Psycho Platter episode. This next one here, all these 45's, by the way, 25 to 50 cents. That's what I found them all for. Really awesome stuff. This next one here threw me for a loop, guys. I almost missed this. I saw the Capitol Records, but then I saw the Kellogg's and itsy-bitsy writing on top. I'm going, wait a minute, what the hell is this? Surprise, surprise. It was the Kellogg's cereal box record. And what I mean by that is you had to, you sent away the form to get this record. 45 EP of H.R. Pufnstuf. Yes, H.R. Pufnstuf. H.R. Pufnstuf. The show was okay. I wasn't a real super big fan of it. But this is the first time I've ever seen this. I wish the cover was with it, though. But the courtesy of this information from Pop Psych and Collectors Friendly, HR Pufnstuf started out in late 69 to early 72. This particular EP came out in late 69, early 70. Stereo tapes for this and other recordings involved with Pufnstuf appear to be lost. Supposedly they had a CD out of Pufnstuf. I think it was in the 90s. And unfortunately, they ripped it from vinyl, I guess. They ripped it from vinyl. Dead Wax Messages with an extra comment here. Jack Wild, who of course was the main lead on this one. Originally, before this, he actually was in the play Oliver. After Davy Jones. Yes, because Davy Jones was in Oliver in '64. And he was on the first Beatles Ed Sullivan Show broadcast. He was on that too. And before Davy Jones, Phil Collins actually had that position too. So I thought kind of funny. And it turns out, I guess, that Jack Wild is a friend of Phil Collins too. And also, here's a little trivia bit in regards to HR Pufnstuf. Witchy Poo was not, what was it? It came down to two people for Witchy Poo. Billy Myers was the one, of course, who got the role. But who came in second place? An unknown actress by the name of Penny Marshall. That's right, Laverne. Laverne almost ended up being Witchy Poo. I get a kick out of that bit, honestly. So this here, I was very happy to have. I haven't listened to it yet. The last bit here, everybody knows I'm a Monkees fan. Yes, everybody knows that watches this show, but I don't get to find too many of the solo 45s. I did actually have this 45 back in the 80s with the picture sleeve, but well, I ended up selling that collection to pay for diapers and bills and stuff years back. I managed to find a stock copy of Challenge's Micky Dolenz Don't Do It. That's right, near mint condition this 45 is in. This one cost me a couple bucks at the antique mall I found. But let me tell you a little bit about it really quick. It was recorded in 1965. Of course, before he was in the Monkees, he was Circus Boy, that's right. But then after that, in the early to mid-60s, he was in a band called Mickey and the One-Nighters. Like I said, recorded in 65, released February of 67. It actually went to number 9 in the Louisville, Kentucky market in February of that year. And Honolulu, it was number 8. There's two label variations on this, I noticed. One is with and one is without Charles Wright as arrangement. That's what this one is without. And then the flip side on here, Plastic Symphony. No, Micky Dolenz has nothing to do with Plastic Symphony. Oh yeah, one last thing I got to tell you about Don't Do It. I'm sorry. According, of course, to my buddy Ronnie Dark from the Wax Museum radio show, I didn't know about this till he brought it up, but the backing band for Don't Do It and Huff Puff, which was the second challenge single, was the Knickerbockers. Yeah, you know those guys. They did Lies, Lies. I always loved that song. They're known for that one, but they did some other good stuff too. And but the Knickerbockers basically backing Micky Dolenz on those two songs. I thought that was totally awesome. But Plastic Symphony here, according to YouTube and all this information as well, it was cataloged in the vault under the group name The Obvious, and it was recorded in 1966. Was that an actual legitimate band name, The Obvious, or were they being a smart aleck and being The Obvious maybe was the Knickerbockers? Could the Knickerbockers have had involvement in this? I'm not sure, but I just thought it was kind of cool to actually get this back in my collection again. So Micky Dolenz, Don't Do It. New subs since the last couple weeks. Donna Joe Cat Lady, Kenji Hazuki, Tony, I know I'm going to butcher this, Tony, I'm sorry, Guagliardo, I hope I got that right, Luke Siem, and Marissa X.X. That's right. Of course, all thank you for joining the Psycho's Platters here. I hope to educate and entertain more frequently here. That close to 500 subs. I'm not kidding you. I was a sub away when I did this show here today. Help me out, guys. Help me out, because this is going to help you guys out in the long run too. Because if I get to 500 soon, I may actually have a mini contest, and I know some of you people are going to moan and groan about this. But this time the prize would be something a little bit more tangible for you guys. I am thinking about doing this. My next episode I'm going to probably do, from what I'm looking at, it'll be another LP episode, but this time it's going to be albums that I've won, whether it be radio contests or in, how do I say this, vinyl raffle contests in Facebook pages. I'll talk about that more in the next episode. But you know what? Once again, guys, thank you guys for watching Psycho's Platters. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your frenemies about Psycho's Platters. Wax Museum with Ronnie Dark, and Night Owl Lounge with Mike Adams, Sunday nights, 6 to 9 and 9 to 10 Central Standard Time on 87.7 WVOA out of Syracuse. You can listen to them on Uber stations on that. Thrifty Music Collector's Corner. The YouTube vinyl community. Without the YouTube vinyl community, we would not be able to do any of this stuff whatsoever. So you guys take care. God bless. Rock on. And I'll see you next episode. That's for sure.